All right, well, welcome. This is going to be a very exciting video for me, and hopefully for you guys as well. I have been given the exclusive opportunity, maybe not so super exclusive. These guys have been doing a lot of interviews and a lot of Q&As recently, but I do get a chance to talk to Maria Hamilton and Paul Cubitt about the new game they've been working on. You guys may have heard of it, World of Warcraft Midnight. I am beyond excited for this, and I'm sure you guys are too. I do have some questions for you guys, if you guys would be willing to chat a little bit about Prey, perhaps, a little bit about some of the new content we can be excited about in World of Warcraft Midnight, maybe just a little bit of PvP. My viewers do like that kind of stuff. And
For
so
sure. Yeah,
if you don't mind, I might actually start with that. What are some of the new pieces of PvP content we can look forward to in Midnight?
sure. There's a couple things that are going in for PvP. The first is an on-ramp. It's a new feature called Training Grounds, which is intended to be PvP flavored without actually being direct PvP, meaning you're not actually fighting against real human opponents. So the way it works is we have a couple battlegrounds that are set up for training grounds where you will be able to compete alongside real players against game-controlled opponents or bots that will be smart and fight against you in clever ways. We've seen this in a brawl in the past. This
Yeah.
is not brand new. The comp stomp brawl has been super successful in the past. It's one of our most popular, probably is in fact our most popular brawl when it comes up in terms of the
Cool.
number of people who compete in it. And so we wanted to make that an always available mode where folks will be able to learn the ropes of PvP in an always available environment. And I think what I suspect is for a lot of people, that'll be where they set up. They're like, yeah, this is great. This is for me. Or if you want to step into actual, okay, I'm ready to swim with the sharks, then start fighting against other players in true battlegrounds, and then probably that into arenas or what have you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got to
So
give
that
my
yeah.
I got to give myself a small pat on the back for that one. I think the NDA is over. Back in Legion, we had a summit, and I got to give credit because there was a lot of things that we suggested, and a lot of those things ended up being the game. And I myself actually suggested having a place where we could learn PvP against bots, because like StarCraft has that, Overwatch has that. All these games have an opportunity to play in a sort of PvP simulated environment, but do so in a way where you can learn, where you get your butt kicked. It's like, oh well, I died to a bot rather than like another player, and that might be a lot less like scary for some people. So I think a lot of what we see is opportunities for players who are new or returning to get into the game in general, and a lot of tools for that. And I think this is one of those ways people get into PvP, which I love. So that's super cool to hear about. There's also a new battleground.
Yeah,
Yes.
Slayer's Rise, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell me about that
Yeah.
one.
So Slayer's Rise is new 40 versus 40 battleground set in the Void Storm zone, where you are going to, as a member of the Alliance, join under the banner of one Dominar, or a member of the Horde, join under the banner of a separate Dominar, and compete in this battleground, which is inspired by the likes of Alterac Valley. There is a central lane that you'll be pushing and pulling along with objectives along the way that you'll be able to capture, and a load-bearing boss at the end of that lane where you defeat them and you have defeated the battleground, as well as a number of side objectives as well. So if things get stalled on the main lane, then you can move over to the side and do some side objectives effectively to push the favor in your team's advantage. Hopefully.
Cool. Well, that's where I'll be, right in the middle, just right in fighting on the road as usual. I'll have
Yes.
yeah. Ashran has a special place in my heart. That's where my guy Captain Jackson Bajheera lives, doing battle eternally like Valhalla.
Ashran
That's
is also, yeah,
still one of the coolest things ever. Um,
as inspiration for this as well. And that battleground is not only a instanced battleground space, but it is also part of the Voidstorm zone itself.
right. Okay. So right there's like I've heard that there is a sort of world of PvP area. Is that what that is?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it's a big, huge part of Voidstorm. Like effectively, what we did in our hardworking, talented PvP team did is we looked at what we've done over the last couple expansions, where we've made war mode focused areas in each
Yeah.
specific zone, and we said let's take all those and we'll put them all together into Voidstorm and focus all of our outdoor PvP, or a majority of it, let's say,
Yeah.
our outdoor PvP energy here. This is where your war mode quests will send you. This is where there will be a whole bunch of additional war mode mechanics that turn on if you have war mode enabled. So there should be a lot more concentrated, fun outdoor PvP activity happening in the Void Storm, which lends itself to all sorts of cool mechanics. There's some like reverse gravity areas where you can sort of fly up and really high, and there's some some fun stories of folks heroic leaping out of those or into those
Oh
to take
yeah,
people out, and all
sweet.
sorts of interesting ways that interacts with our class mechanics.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember Ashran being like a big PvP playground, and it sounds like this is kind of what that is out in the world. And yeah, I feel like in Dragonflight and War Within, even more, having these sort of objectives to fight over in a world PvP environment that sort of just keep happening, those are always super fun. And now to have an area where those are going to be happening, it sounds like quite a bit. It seems like the battle will be raging constantly, which is super exciting. And that's one of the things that my audience wanted me to ask you guys about is, or what ways will we keep that world PvP area vibrant as the expansions progress? And it sounds like it's just you're taking a lot of the world PvP events that may have been spread out and you're kind of like putting them in this one place where we can keep fighting over it. And I think that's a great answer to that question. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, as we
Cool.
move into patches later on in Midnight, there will likely be new areas that we explore and
Right.
move into. But with this Slayer's Rise outdoor area being such a large focus, I wouldn't be surprised if we take a look at, we typically, as you get better and better gear, the creatures that those older areas tend to fall over much quicker, and so that's likely something we take a look at. That area is also the location of one of our dungeons. In fact, Voidscar
Okay.
Arena, the entrance to that dungeon, if you're going to go walk through the front door, it is located on Slayer's Rise. It is in that area,
Awesome.
and so there will be reasons for us to want to go back there on an ongoing basis, even if you're not a
Yeah.
PvPer.
It sounds like there's gonna be a lot of fights right out in front of that place, is what I'm
There,
hearing.
there might be.
Just ganking people as they try to go into the dungeon. Beautiful stuff. So, other players, not the only thing that we're going to be fighting, though, maybe hunted by perhaps. This prey system sounds super cool to me. I'm always like a big fan of having like, I don't know, like you have an objective to go hunt down a target. I like that a lot. I was actually kind of hoping there would be some sort of PvP involvement with that, but I'm not gonna push into that. But I want to hear more about this prey system. If you guys wouldn't mind giving us like an overview, if anybody hadn't heard of it yet, and then we can ask a little bit more.
Yeah, the simple overview version is the player who wants to participate can opt into that by basically taking on a contract. They're saying, "Hey, I'm going to hunt somebody down," and they can choose the difficulty once they've unlocked those higher difficulties. So they'll choose their difficulty. How tough should this be? And then they will be told essentially where that individual was last seen. And then they will go there and they will start engaging in content in the world, trying to find that prey target, and the prey target may jump them, or you may find them, and you may have to encounter them a few times before you wear them down enough that you can kind of have your final battle against them. And so, for normal mode, when you're in the world, just adventuring, you will see this happening around you as people discover their prey or get jumped by their prey, and you
That
can
is so
jump in and
cool.
help. Um, and once we get to the higher modes, the more difficult modes, we will actually make it such that you are in an instanced area to do that final fight, so that if you chose to go Nightmare, well, you have that challenge. Nobody's taking that challenge away from you by jumping in and interrupting.
We've
Cool.
already had some like really fun player stories from internal tests of this. I remember we did one in Zulaman not that long ago, where I think my prey target was that if you got to watch the deep dive video, that Blood Elf
Yeah.
Magister who uses like pyromancy,
Yeah.
fire magic, and was fighting some cultists in one of the Twilight's Blade areas there, and he got the jump on me as he jumped in, started fighting. Like, okay, well, I'll deal with this cultist and then deal with you. I knocked him down to maybe 50%, and he's like, yeah, I'll be back, and jumps in the
Yeah.
shadows. I'm like, okay, that was good. And
Whew.
then the very next cultist I fight, he jumps back in again. It's like, Jesus, dude, like leave
That
me
is so
alone.
funny. No,
So
that's the you'll get yours, maybe not today, maybe
yeah,
tomorrow, maybe the next day,
maybe in
maybe a month
11
from now, maybe right
seconds.
now,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That's so funny.
But
I
it caught
love
me off
that.
guard, and that's the intent is to sort of catch you off guard, and then sometimes you will catch them off guard too. You will see
Right.
them in the zone, skinning a monster or something like that, and then you get
That's
to
so
chase
cool.
them around a bit.
You know what's funny is that this kind of makes me think of like we have the PvP bots for BGs. This is almost like sort of getting a non-PvP experience of world PvP. Like if you wanted to see that, like somebody's if there's there so if you see somebody out there skinning, you're like, okay, I've practiced on my prey. Now I get to try this on a player. That's
Yeah.
kind of a funny idea. It also reminds me a little bit about the butcher from D4 where you're in a dungeon, he just ganks you. It is so much fun having that like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, this is not a good time for me to be getting attacked right now. And I
It's
can definitely
absolutely an
envision that.
inspiration here. Yes, we
Yeah.
want that feeling.
I can envision that in like world PvP, like somebody's bugging you, and then the blood elf guy comes in and starts throwing fireballs at you. So you're like, come on, man. I think
Yeah,
that's going to
and
lead to some hilarious clips and stuff on Twitch and whatnot.
to your earlier question too, on like, is there any PvP involvement here? Well, not directly, but this all
Right.
does take place in the outdoor world, and that
Yeah.
is where war mode happens and where PvP can and does happen. So
Yeah.
if there are people on prey contracts who have their war mode enabled, then they may be more targetable targets for someone who's
Yeah.
looking for a target, or
Exactly.
yeah, it may also make you a little bit more on your toes, and you don't have to just watch out for your prey target, but other players
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. That's going to be so funny because people are always complaining like, oh man, I pulled a mob and then this guy decided to fight me because I was in a fight with a mob already. It's going to happen with the prey targets too. It's going to be beautiful. So, what kind
Yes.
of rewards can we look forward to with the prey stuff?
Plenty. You will be able to get power rewards from Prey. While the
Great.
details are still in flight, I would expect it to be similar to the level of rewards you were getting from Delves. So
Yeah, I was even thinking that maybe like they would end up being in the vault, like hunt a certain amount of prey, and that could like help you fill out that world content vault slot, maybe.
yes, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
there can be ways where Prey talks with Delves, where completing a Prey gives you a better key or gives you a map, or vice
they
versa, where
gank
completing
you
a
in the
Delve gives
delve.
you a yeah. Well, they're not going to show up in the Delves,
I
at
know,
least
I
not
know. I
quite
actually
yet.
asked
Yes.
that question to you guys yesterday. I was like, what all content can they attack you? And maybe you can even like speak to that after you're finished with that answer. But yeah,
Yes, yeah, but they will, so that you will be able to get power rewards in the form of the Great Vault, as well as just directly
yeah,
from like quests which might show up every week, every other week, or so,
It's a
so
journey
on.
track as well, isn't there, Paul?
There is also, in fact, yes, a journey track. So for
oh
those
sweet,
unfamiliar with the term journeys, you may know, if you've played Delves in The War Within, there's a feature called the Delver's Journey, which is just a progression bar. As you do more Delves, you move along that bar, and you get cool
right,
stuff as you move along that bar. It's kind of like a
very cool.
renown. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you rank up with the little weird blood elf guy who wants to hunt down like life force for him. It's like
Yes.
I'm not so sure you're a good guy, but Prey sounds fun enough to give it a try.
No, I'm sure it's all on the up and up. Don't
Oh
worry
yeah,
about
He's
it.
definitely a good guy.
usually is fine in those situations, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but so there will be a prey journey as well, where you're going to advance that sort of bar and get some cool rewards from that, and that can include ergonomic benefits. It may include things that make it easier for you to hunt your prey. It also may include cool things like cosmetics. You'll get some
so I'm
cool
hearing,
mounts, titles, stuff like that.
yeah, so maybe like some tools to navigate the lands. I'm looking at like a grappling hook or something like that. I know that's not like specific, but that would be kind of cool. Like, ways to get around the world, and maybe even some like cool items that you can use against people in world PvP would be kind of fun to have rewards for that.
Yeah.
And we touched on it just briefly, but what types of content can we expect the prey to be found or find us?
Pretty much anything you're doing in that zone, they will you could find them or they could jump you. And you're really going to have to keep watching for a sudden interruption. So as long as you have not completed your contract yet, they will pester you.
That is
Yeah,
so cool.
there's going to be certain things you want to do if you're hunting for them. This is not. Well, it's sort of like a quest. Go find your prey. It's not built like a quest in WoW, where quests might say like go collect 10 lion
Right.
tails or something like that. This is not the case. It's not look in 10 locations and then you'll find your target. That's not how
Uh-huh.
hide and seek works. You need to look for them until you find them. And so
Yeah.
it's a little bit more obfuscated. As you do things, you'll get feedback from the game that says you've gotten closer to finding your target. Maybe you're getting warmer,
Yeah.
but you never really know when you're going to find them.
Cool. So with the difficulty scaling, you have like normal mode all the way up to nightmare mode. How does that content compare in difficulty to like other content? Like I'm trying to sort of place that like is normal Ray difficulty, then nightmare is gonna be like a mythic something difficulty, or is it sort of scaled differently? What's the deal with that?
I think the best, but there's not a great like direct one-to-one comparison for what exists
Okay.
in WoW, just because of the way this is implemented. But I think
Yeah.
the closest we can get is with Delves,
Okay.
and we look at Nightmare being on par to high tier Delves. So
Gotcha.
maybe 11, maybe somewhere, maybe it's a little lower, maybe it's a little higher. Still, we tend to do alphas as true alphas, where we are testing
Yeah.
and iterating alongside players, and so those are the types of things that we're like feeling out right now and seeing how players respond, what success rates are or death rates are fighting
Sure.
against nightmare level prey targets, and then but that's sort of what we can expect from nightmare, and then hard will be somewhere in the mid, maybe that's closer to an 8. Again, this is all, none of this is gospel, but sort of take this as directionally where we see that difficulty living.
Yeah, we'll be tuning, and we look at a lot of the death maps, you know, the heat maps for deaths and what caused that death and so forth. So that'll give us some good data. So please, you know, play and do some prey stuff, and let us look at your data
Yeah.
and see where you died horribly or didn't
Can
die enough.
be a skill issue. Most deaths, I imagine. User error.
Yes. I mean, those heat maps are interesting. Sometimes we'll look, what's right there? What's in this southeast corner of the map? We have to dig into it. Like, oh, that's what's happening. Okay.
Some sort of hole in the map, like players just fall through. Oh, we need to fix that. It's like, okay, good to know. That is awesome. So it sounds like we are going to be having some pretty cool challenges to take on in Midnight. We are going to have some new tools at our disposal in the form of Apex talents. Can I hear a little bit more about those, perhaps?
Yeah, so Apex talents are one of the most exciting parts of the power set that you will gain as you level from 81 to 90, and 90 will be the new level cap in Midnight.
Yeah.
So you get 10 new talent points. Those are split up among your 3 talent trees, your class tree, your hero tree, or hero talent tree, and your spec tree. The class tree, you just get 3 additional points to put wherever you want.
Okay.
In your hero talent tree, every hero talent tree, all 40 of them now, will have an additional column of points that go in there, and those will just make your character stronger.
Okay, but those are not the Apex talents.
But those are not Apex talents. No, Apex talents,
Right, okay.
in fact, live at the bottom of your specialization tree, and
Wow,
these
okay.
are presented as a single large node that takes 4 points. And you will earn those 4 points at levels 81, 84, 87, and 90.
Okay.
That the first point that goes in that is sort of the definition of what this thing is about. It's the thesis of the Apex talent. It is often something which is just a large power increase in an interesting way. In some cases, it might be a ability replacement. I don't think that any of them are actually new abilities. We're being cautious about adding too many new keybinds to folks, but there may be some ability replacements. The second 2 points are going to take that thesis, that original idea of what this is about, and make it stronger in some way or another, or at least something which is correlated with that. It should feel like a cohesive package. And then that final point is the exclamation point, which brings it all home and takes the entirety of those points and makes it greater than the sum of its parts. Some really cool examples of Apex talents in there. One of my favorites is the Frost Mage, Hand of Frost, which sort of chases after your target and uses some really cool Frost visuals. There's the Mistweaver Monk one has like really cool like visuals going all over the place, and so there's a bunch of them that are going to be play testable as we progress through alpha. You'll be able to eventually get to level 90 and put all those points in and really make your character cool. It's also worth noting that these are not required points to spend. So while I suspect most people will want to put their final 4 points that they earn in their spec tree into the Apex talent tree, you don't have to. You could put them all into existing nodes. You could put 1 in if you just want that first node, but want to put the other 3 elsewhere. And so we're interested in seeing how players respond to that. And once again, Apex talents will be powerful, but not required.
Okay, cool. So we have, I don't get to see my warrior ones yet, but we can wait. But that's interesting. So just to reiterate, so the points that you would spend on your Apex are going to come from your specific spec tree. So like for me, it would be Fury. I would either be able to spend 4 points throughout my tree, or I would sort of have my spec that I've got going on, and I would spec further down into the Apex. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and the entire thing would unlock at 81. So even if you get down to the bottom of the tree, once you get to 81 is when you start being capable of putting points into your Apex talent.
Will you need to path all the way to the Apex, or could you like sort of spec in the top of your tree for some reason, not take any of the final little points, and then spec into the Apex anyway, or?
No, it is literally just. Although I would say this is subject to change. The combat team will take a look at this.
Always, everything that we're talking about is subject to change.
Yeah, so. It is just the level 81 requirement to be able to get there. So you don't have to have any of those capstone, the bottom row talents if you don't want it. Most people will probably because those tend to be strong. But we're not drawing a bunch of lines in some of those cases where you have a bunch of capstones all down as prerequisites to this single node.
Okay, cool. So to loop back into PvP just a little bit. I've seen a few things changing. I think one of the big questions is always like, will there be any new rewards coming from PvP, or like any new types of content that will be rewarding for PvP stuff? Because we have housing now, which is, whoa, first of all, looks amazing. But now we have all these other ways to reward for content from like housing and stuff. So are there any new PvP rewards we can look forward to?
Yes, for sure. So while the details on rewards are also something that we continue to iterate on pretty late into the process,
Of
we
course.
do know that we've talked about in the decor side of things, we want to be able to add trophies, which are things that are rewards either for really high performance or really high engagement. And if you run a lot of PvP or do really well in PvP, you might get a trophy. And PvP is in fact one of those areas where we do want to have some trophies available at midnight launch. So if you're interested in having some cool PvP, this is not necessarily like a literal trophy with a pillar with a guy holding a sword standing on top of it.
Could
Maybe
be.
it is,
Maybe.
but it could be. But I'm using the term trophy more figuratively as a reward for doing something awesome. That would be something we can expect. And then of course there will also be cool gladiator mounts and things like that we can look forward to alongside PvP progression. There also could be some really interesting rewards that come out from Slayer's Rise as we end that outdoor area, as that is sort of a unique outdoor area to itself. It's a cool opportunity for us to present some new rewards, whether those be power based or cosmetic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Specifically, going into like solo shuffle and BG Blitz, are you aware of, or can you speak on any plans to provide some of those like big rewards, like a mount or something like that from the solo brackets as well?
I'm afraid I don't have any new news on those specifically at this point.
Yeah, the housing sounds amazing, by the way. I feel like it's taken a little while for World of Warcraft to bring housing into the mix, but the way that it's being done seems like it's like super like well thought out, and it has like a lot of work put into it. Um, will the houses that we have be specific to our characters, or is it going to be like a warband thing where like, welcome to my home and this is where all my characters live? And because some characters may want to have like a different design potentially, how does that work?
Marie, is this one you want to jump on? You want me to handle it?
You go for it.
Okay, yeah. So yes, houses are attached to your warband, actually attached to your BNet account. So your home is shared among all your characters there, and that goes across faction lines as well. So even if you are a diehard orc who buys his orc home in Razorwind Shores, and it's very orc themed, we also have a dyed-in-the-wool blue alliance character on that account. That character also has access to that house, can get in there, can decorate, can be part of that. So these houses are shared across faction lines and across your entire BNet account. And we do give folks the ability to have one in a Horde neighborhood and in Alliance neighborhood at launch. We're actually in housing early access, which starts in early December in patch 11.27.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So we have a few questions from my audience about transmog. So transmog is becoming a one-time fee. Are there any other transmog changes on the way?
I can clarify a little bit about one-time fee.
Yeah, please do.
In certain cases, it will only be a one-time fee. But others, if you want to do experimentation, then there might be others. So the way that transmog is changing is, instead of transmogging a particular item to look a particular way, you're transmogging a particular slot to look a particular way. So if I get a cool hat, but I really want my hat to look like the Murloc onesie hat, then in the old world, in our current The War Within world, I would transmog that hat to look like Murloc onesie. But then if I get an upgrade, I'll have to reapply that appearance. Not so in Midnight. If you transmog your hat to look how you want, and then you get an upgrade, you put on that new hat, and it still looks the way you want it to. So that's where that one-time fee applies, where you say, I want to look this way, and then it doesn't matter what I change underneath based on gear or set bonuses or any other reason I want to change my gear, I'm going to look the way that I want to look. And this should really help for some of those moments when you're leveling through the game and we have a really cool cutscene where your character plays a role, but you just got like half of your gear upgraded, or maybe just a very visible shoulder change or something, and you're like, oh man, I look so cool, but I forgot to update my transmog. Gone should be those days. You should always look cool if you've set yourself up to look cool.
Yeah, my chat's always making fun of me because I don't transmog my PvE gear until I have a completely distinct set of PvP and PvE gear. So I'm usually sort of in all kinds of weird looking gear for the cutscenes and stuff. So maybe that will help me. No promises, but we'll see.
You should be able to look cooler. Yeah.
You also have situational outfits as well, which is cool. So if you wanna be silly, you want to have your silly outfit, your less silly outfit, or your outfit that you wear when you're in your house. that's something that you can look at as well. So
Yeah, and you're not gonna have to pull out the mammoth mount and like, hold on, guys, let me just get dressed for my silly gear real quick. You can kind of just like pop into it.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly.
we've delayed raids because the main tank needed to transmog his gear because he just got a new drop and he just couldn't continue without doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one who doesn't change their gear, and everybody just is in shame to just be in my proximity. Like, bro, you got to fix that belt, man. Like, I just can't be around you like this. It's like too bad, dude. Too bad. So, maybe this I kind of was asking about this a little bit earlier, but we introduced, or you guys introduced a lot of like we our game. There was introduced a lot of new sort of like mobility stuff over the past couple expansions with respect to just how we get around the world, right? We had the introduction of dragon riding, which has like completely changed the way we navigate the open world, and then we even had like the drift system, which in Undermine, which is like super cool. Are there any things like that that we can anticipate or be excited about in Midnight? Maybe any ways like getting around the world differently? Because I feel like with the Haranir, I can definitely see them like Tarzan swinging through the vines in certain zones, things like that. I don't know. The grappling hook for something would be really cool too, but I don't know anything like that.
There is so one of the most successful new ways of moving around in the game that we've introduced in the last couple expansions has been skywriting.
Yeah.
Originally known as dragon riding, but now
Skywriting,
more
okay.
more generally skywriting because it's not
Yep.
all dragons anymore. You
True.
can do so
Jenny
with
Jenny was just today telling me how funny it was to get the new headless horseman mount from the trading post, and it doesn't have any wings, and she's still spinning rocket blasting through the sky on her horse, and it's like this is awesome.
it's super cool, right? It's great to have that level of flexibility. But
Yeah.
skywriting in Midnight is getting streamlined, where the functionality would be a lot more simple. So currently we have a vigor bar, which has 6 pips of energy that you spend. You spend 1 to use your 2 basic abilities, or 3 pips to use your whirling surge, and that was a good functional system in a world where dragon riding was sort of an end game feature. It was unlocked at the end game expansion at the time of Dragonflight. Now
Right.
we have skywriting available as early as you get out of Exile's reach, basically, and
Yeah.
that is no longer. It's a little bit complex for people who are still learning how to move around, use their abilities, and
Man,
so on.
my dragon, he is always getting so tired. I got the big red plated gladiator dragon from Dragonflight. He is so
Yep.
tired all the time from all that armor and all those rank 1 titles holding him down. It's tough for the poor guy. So if he's gonna have a little bit more energy now, it's good.
Yes, I believe it. Yes, appreciate the humble brag there as well. Well done.
It's just the way it is, poor guy.
Yes. But nevertheless, those changes have led us to make it so that your skywriting is now charge based. So you don't see that bar anymore. You just see on the abilities that would used to use 1 pip of energy. You just have 6 charges. When you use 1, it goes down to 5. It's much easier, and as well, we get more functionality. That whirling surge is just on a 30-second cooldown. It doesn't use any charges, doesn't use anything at all. So you're going to be able to move around faster. It's just as fun. There's still opportunities for skill expression by trying to move fast to regenerate your vigor or your charges more quickly, as opposed to vigor. But what we've already heard from people saying, like, who've played WoW and then left and come back, they said, "What did you change about skywriting? Because I didn't used to be able to get it before, and now I get it." And so we're really happy to see that those changes are.
I call it paper airplane flying versus helicopter flying. But paper airplane flying sounds like it's got a nice upgrade.
Yes, indeed.
And it sounds like this whole expansion is going to be a fantastic new journey for all of us. Thank you guys so much for taking the time and answering these questions. Again, big fan of your game. It's looking fantastic. Very, very grateful for your continued hard work on this. And I think people are going to like it a lot. Hopefully people enjoyed the interview. Hopefully people enjoyed the video. And thank you guys so much for your time.
Hey, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you, Bajheera. Thank you to your community. Looking forward to seeing you in Midnight.
You too.